safety of abiding in the presence of God. Psalm 91. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler, and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look, and see the reward of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra. The young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. Because He has set His love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him, and show him my salvation. Deuteronomy 12 verse 10. When you cross the Jordan and live in the land which the Lord your God is giving you to inherit, and He gives you rest from all your enemies around you so that you live in security. Deuteronomy 33 verse 12. Of Benjamin He said, May the beloved of the Lord dwell in security by Him, who shields him all the day, and He dwells between His shoulders. Psalm 48 verse 8. As we have heard, so have we seen. In the city of the Lord of hosts, in the city of our God, God will establish her forever. Selah. Jeremiah 32 verses 37 to 38. Behold, I will gather them out of all the lands to which I have driven them in my anger, in my wrath and in great indignation, and I will bring them back to this place and make them dwell in safety. They shall be my people, and I will be their God. Zechariah 14 verse 11. People will live in it, and there will no longer be a curse, for Jerusalem will dwell in security. Romans 8 verse 31. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who is against us? Job 11 verses 13 to 19. If you would direct your heart right, and spread out your hand to Him. If iniquity is in your hand, put it far away, and do not let wickedness dwell in your tents. Then, indeed, you could lift up your face without moral defect, and you would be steadfast and not fear. Psalm 37 verse 3. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and cultivate faithfulness. Proverbs 18 verse 10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runs into it and is safe. Proverbs 29 verse 25. The fear of man brings a snare, but he who trusts in the Lord will be exalted. Leviticus 25 verses 18 to 19. You shall thus observe my statutes and keep my judgments, so as to carry them out, that you may live securely on the land. Then the land will yield its produce, so that you can eat your fill and live securely on it. Leviticus 26 verse 5. Indeed, your threshing will last for you until grape gathering, and grape gathering will last until sowing time. You will thus eat your food to the full and live securely in your land. Proverbs 1 verse 33. But he who listens to me shall live securely, and will be at ease from the dread of evil. Proverbs 3 verses 21 to 26. My son, let them not vanish from your sight. Keep sound wisdom and discretion, so they will be life to your soul, and adornment to your neck. Then you will walk in your way securely, and your foot will not stumble. Proverbs 28 verse 26. He who trusts in his own heart is a fool, but he who walks wisely will be delivered. Job 5 verse 11. So that he sets on high those who are lowly, and those who mourn are lifted to safety. Isaiah 14 verse 30. Those who are most helpless will eat, and the needy will lie down in security. I will destroy your root with famine, and it will kill off your survivors. Job 5 verse 4. His sons are far from safety. They are even oppressed in the gate, and there is no deliverer. Proverbs 28 verse 18. He who walks blamelessly will be delivered, but he who is crooked will fall all at once. Jeremiah 12 verse 12. On all the bare heights in the wilderness, destroyers have come, for a sword of the Lord is devouring, from one end of the land even to the other. There is no peace for anyone. Hebrews 13 verse 6. So that we confidently say, the Lord is my helper, I will not be afraid. What will man do to me? Joshua 10 verse 21. That all the people returned to the camp to Joshua at Makkedah in peace. No one uttered a word against any of the sons of Israel. Psalm 3 verses 5 to 6. I lay down and slept. I awoke, for the Lord sustains me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people who have set themselves against me round about. Psalm 12 verse 7. You, O Lord, will keep them. You will preserve him from this generation forever. Psalm 31 verse 20. You hide them in the secret place of your presence from the conspiracies of man. You keep them secretly in a shelter from the strife of tongues. Psalm 78 verse 53. He led them safely, so that they did not fear. But the sea engulfed their enemies. Ezekiel 28 verse 26. They will live in it securely, and they will build houses, plant vineyards, and live securely when I execute judgments upon all who scorn them round about them. Then they will know that I am the Lord their God. Revelation 3 verse 10. Because you have kept the word of my perseverance, I also will keep you from the hour of testing, that hour which is about to come upon the whole world, to test those who dwell on the earth. Isaiah 43 verse 2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they will not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be scorched, nor will the flame burn you. Psalm 23 verses 1 to 6. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness, for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Ezekiel 34 verse 25. I will make a covenant of peace with them and eliminate harmful beasts from the land so that they may live securely in the wilderness and sleep in the woods. 1 John 5 verse 18. We know that no one who is born of God sins, but he who was born of God keeps him, and the evil one does not touch him. Romans 8 verses 35 to 39. Who will separate us from the love of Christ? Will tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword? Just as it is written, for your sake we are being put to death all day long. We were considered as sheep to be slaughtered. But in all these things we overwhelmingly conquer through him who loved us. 2 Timothy 4 verse 18. The Lord will rescue me from every evil deed, and will bring me safely to his heavenly kingdom. To him be the glory forever and ever. Revelation 2 verse 11. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. He who overcomes will not be hurt by the second death. Psalm 4 verse 8. In peace I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me to dwell in safety. Zechariah 8 verse 10. For before those days there was no wage for man or any wage for animal, and for him who went out or came in there was no peace because of his enemies, and I set all men one against another. John 17 verse 12. While I was with them, I was keeping them in your name which you have given me, and I guarded them, and not one of them perished, but the son of perdition, so that the scripture would be fulfilled. Jeremiah 23 verses 5 to 6. Behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will raise up for David a righteous branch, and he will reign as king and act wisely, and do justice and righteousness in the land. In his days Judah will be saved, and Israel will dwell securely. And this is his name by which he will be called, the Lord our righteousness. Jeremiah 33 verses 15 to 16. In those days and at that time I will cause a righteous branch of David to spring forth, and he shall execute justice and righteousness on the earth. In those days Judah will be saved and Jerusalem will dwell in safety, and this is the name by which she will be called, the Lord is our righteousness. John 10 verses 11 to 15. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. He who is a hired hand, and not a shepherd, who is not the owner of the sheep, sees the wolf coming, and leaves the sheep and flees, and the wolf snatches them and scatters them. He flees because he is a hired hand and is not concerned about the sheep. Matthew 4 verse 6. And said to him, If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, He will command His angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. Luke 4 verses 10 to 11. For it is written, He will command His angels concerning you to guard you, and on their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. Genesis 19 verse 16. But he hesitated. So the men seized his hand and the hand of his wife and the hands of his 2 daughters, for the compassion of the Lord was upon him, and they brought him out, and put him outside the city. Genesis 48 verses 15 to 16. He blessed Joseph, and said, The God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this day, the angel who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and may my name live on in them, and the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and may they grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Exodus 23 verse 20. Behold, I am going to send an angel before you to guard you along the way and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Daniel 3 verse 28. Nebuchadnezzar responded and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants who put their trust in him, violating the king's command, and yielded up their bodies so as not to serve or worship any god except their own God. Daniel 6 verse 22. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, and they have not harmed me, inasmuch as I was found innocent before him, and also toward you, O king, I have committed no crime. Acts 5 verse 19. But during the night an angel of the Lord opened the gates of the prison, and taking them out he said. Acts 12 verse 11. When Peter came to himself, he said, Now I know for sure that the Lord has sent forth his angel and rescued me from the hand of Herod and from all that the Jewish people were expecting. Revelation 7 verses 2 to 3. And I saw another angel ascending from the rising of the sun, having the seal of the living God. And he cried out with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was granted to harm the earth and the sea, saying, Do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees until we have sealed the bondservants of our God on their foreheads. Proverbs 11 verse 15. He who is guarantor for a stranger will surely suffer for it, but he who hates being a guarantor is secure. Jeremiah 4 verse 6. Lift up a standard toward Zion. Seek refuge, do not stand still. For I am bringing evil from the north, and great destruction. Jeremiah 6 verse 1. Flee for safety, O sons of Benjamin, from the midst of Jerusalem. Now blow a trumpet in Tekoa, and raise a signal over Beth-Haxorim. For evil looks down from the north, and a great destruction. Matthew 24 verses 15 to 16. Therefore when you see the abomination of desolation which was spoken of through Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Then those who are in Judea must flee to the mountains. Mark 13 verse 14. So when you see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Luke 21 verses 20 to 21. But when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then recognize that her desolation is near. Then those who are in Judea must flee to the mountains, and those who are in the midst of the city must leave, and those who are in the country must not enter the city. Acts 2 verse 40. And with many other words he solemnly testified and kept on exhorting them, saying, Be saved from this perverse generation. Acts 27 verse 44. And the rest should follow, some on planks, and others on various things from the ship. And so it happened that they all were brought safely to land. Genesis 4 verse 9. Then the Lord said to Cain, Where is Abel your brother? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? Genesis 43 verse 9. I myself will be surety for him. You may hold me responsible for him. If I do not bring him back to you and set him before you, then let me bear the blame before you forever. Genesis 44 verse 32. For your servant became surety for the lad to my father, saying, If I do not bring him back to you, then let me bear the blame before my father forever. Matthew 2 verse 13. Now when they had gone, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, Get up. Take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt, and remain there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to destroy him. 1 Samuel 20 verses 12 to 13. Then Jonathan said to David, The Lord, the God of Israel, be witness. When I have sounded out my father about this time tomorrow, or the third day, behold, if there is good feeling toward David, shall I not then send to you and make it known to you? If it please my father to do you harm, may the Lord do so to Jonathan and more also, if I do not make it known to you and send you away, that you may go in safety. And may the Lord be with you as he has been with my father. 1 Samuel 22 verses 22 to 23. Then David said to Abiathar, I knew on that day, when Doeg the Edomite was there, that he would surely tell Saul. I have brought about the death of every person in your father's household. Stay with me, do not be afraid, for he who seeks my life seeks your life, for you are safe with me. Exodus 22 verses 5 to 15. If a man lets a field or vineyard be grazed bare and lets his animal loose so that it grazes in another man's field, he shall make restitution from the best of his own field and the best of his own vineyard. If a fire breaks out and spreads to thorn bushes, so that stacked grain or the standing grain or the field itself is consumed, he who started the fire shall surely make restitution. If a man gives his neighbor money or goods to keep for him and it is stolen from the man's house, if the thief is caught, he shall pay double. Nehemiah 2 verse 7. And I said to the king, If it please the king, let letters be given me for the governors of the provinces beyond the river, that they may allow me to pass through until I come to Judah. Acts 23 verse 24. They were also to provide mounts to put Paul on and bring him safely to Felix the governor. 1 Kings 4 verse 25. So Judah and Israel lived in safety, every man under his vine and his fig tree, from Dan even to Beersheba, all the days of Solomon. 2 Chronicles 15 verse 5. In those times there was no peace to him who went out or to him who came in, for many disturbances afflicted all the inhabitants of the lands. Proverbs 20 verse 28. Loyalty and truth preserve the king, and he upholds his throne by righteousness. Hebrews 13 verse 17. Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they keep watch over your souls as those who will give an account. Let them do this with joy and not with grief, for this would be unprofitable for you. Proverbs 1 verses 20 to 33. Wisdom shouts in the street, she lifts her voice in the square. At the head of the noisy street she cries out. At the entrance of the gates in the city she utters her sayings. How long, O naive ones, will you love being simple-minded? And scoffers delight themselves in scoffing and fools hate knowledge? Proverbs 29 verse 25. The fear of man brings a snare, but he who trusts in the Lord will be exalted. Job 5 verses 8 to 11. But as for me, I would seek God, and I would place my cause before God, who does great and unsearchable things, wonders without number. He gives rain on the earth and sends water on the fields. Leviticus 25 verses 17 to 18. So you shall not wrong one another, but you shall fear your God, for I am the Lord your God. You shall thus observe my statutes and keep my judgments, so as to carry them out, that you may live securely on the land. Leviticus 26 verses 1 to 5. You shall not make idols for yourselves. Neither a carved image nor a sacred pillar shall you rear up for yourselves. Nor shall you set up an engraved stone in your land, to bow down to it. For I am the Lord your God. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord. If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments, and perform them, then I will give you rain in its season, the land shall yield its produce, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. Your threshing shall last till the time of vintage, and the vintage shall last till the time of sowing. You shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely. Proverbs 11 verse 14. Where there is no guidance the people fall, but in abundance of counselors there is victory. Proverbs 24 verse 6. For by wise guidance you will wage war, and in abundance of counselors there is victory. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 3. While they are saying, peace and safety, then destruction will come upon them suddenly like labor pains upon a woman with child, and they will not escape. Proverbs 21 verse 31. The horse is prepared for the day of battle, but victory belongs to the Lord. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 3. While they are saying, peace and safety, then destruction will come upon them suddenly like labor pains upon a woman with child, and they will not escape. Psalm 121 verses 1 to 8. I will lift up my eyes to the hills. From whence comes my help? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. The Lord shall preserve your going out and your coming in, from this time forth, and even forevermore. Amen.